Young man, I wish to speak to you today about pornography.
Every day I see men who wish they hadn't slipped off the edge and made their wives cry.
This was not a good thing to be doing, but like addiction happens, it just little by little, and I couldn't stop.
I was attacked by Satan from the cradle, and I never got a chance to experience mortality without this cloud over me.
I was so far gone that I had no idea whether it was the spirit or the adversary.
It's just a preconception that Satan has placed in us since coming into this world kind of as teenagers, that there's no way we could ever amount to anything.
Will you ever be rescued? Will you make it through your own survival story? The answer is yes.
This is a new weapon that Satan has been using.
Deception,
we're not talking
distraction,
about it.
discouragement.
I fight to watch men reaccess the power of God.
I am looking tonight.
It's not out there.
It's become far too normalized.
It's
for
normalized.
men, young and
I
old,
realize now that I am a warrior
who care enough about this battle between good and evil
against the adversary
to sign on and speak
If
up.
I turn my life around and be the person that they need.
We are at war, and for these next few minutes, I want to be a one-man recruiting station.
Hello. We have another one. Welcome to the Eternal Warriors podcast, helping young people in their quest for self-mastery, sharing stories from the battlefront against Satan and pornography. Oof, we got an exciting show for you today.
Oh.
Let's see. We have Brenner here, our good man Brenner. Elder Hanseen. Elder Hanseen is a good friend of mine.
Who the heck's Elder Hanseen?
Scene. How did I do that? Oh my gosh.
Even I knew that was a mistake.
About that. I warned Garett about that right before, and I did. When have I ever called you Hanseen?
Right now, apparently.
Okay, so retracing our steps, we're so pleased to have Elder Hanseen, a service missionary and longtime friend, supposedly longtime friend of mine. And we have some great topics to dive into about his story and how his story is unique to him through his journey through different diagnoses. But first of all, we just want to get to know you, Brenner. What's cool about you?
What's cool about me? Well, personally, I'm not quite sure, though I imagine a whole lot of people will say cool things about me for you. So I imagine they would say I'm a pretty great guy. I'm chill, a loving heart. If you like metal music, probably a really good taste of metal, you know? So there's that.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
What are some of the metal bands that you like?
Let me just think for a quick second. Probably I'll just hit my I have my phone right here. Just hit the artist playlist. I'll just tell you some of my favorites. Alluvio is a pretty great one. They have a really great album called Sarcoma.
Okay.
I do not know that, but maybe it's worth looking into.
Yeah, there's Whitechapel. That's a much more popular deathcore band.
Yeah, I'm a little more familiar with them.
I'm also really into. What was that?
I'm more familiar with Whitechapel.
Yeah, The Valley and Kin, pretty great albums. I think Kin is probably one of the best produced albums I've ever listened to. The quality of it is just the best. It's that's my personal opinion, but it's there.
Dang.
Awesome.
Valiant.
And I'm also pretty into prog metal, like Hacken. They call themselves a prog rock band, but Leprous.
I can also tell you,
yeah,
Brenner has one of the best orc voices I have ever heard, and is really good at D&D.
Now, good at D&D is that just depends. I've done a lot of pen and papers. What he's just referring to is the fact that I do an orc
character.
voice. Yeah, a character, an orc voice. It sounds like this.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah.
What you gets doing? And Biscuit doing something over there. So
That's good. I like it.
I love it. Oh, that was great. We played that one D&D session in high school, and I'll never forget it. Never.
Pretty good.
Oh yeah.
So
let's see.
Brenner, based on what Eli told me, you're a service missionary. How long have you been
Correct.
a service missionary for?
7 months.
Okay.
I got called, or I started my mission. I mean, I was called and set apart as like a missionary in like late January, but I've really been serving since February.
Okay. Cool.
So,
what do you do as a service missionary? That, if you can tell me, I don't know. Maybe you're in the CIA. I don't.
I would be. I wish I was in the church equivalent of the CIA. Now that would be pretty cool.
He's in the Secret Service of the Lord.
No, it's the sacred service.
Oh,
there you go.
Now that's what I wish. So I've been in a few different places. First place I was serving was Welfare Square.
Okay.
So and that's pretty cool because like the Bishop's Storehouse is completely run by missionaries basically, and then there's also a few other places on there that we also serve, like a bakery, a cannery, and a dairy. I ended up leaving that spot. It just didn't quite jive at that moment. Maybe it would have worked better if like I came in at a different time. I just wanted, so I felt like going to a different place, and then I served at a family search center, and that was okay. I learned a lot about things. I helped get my step grandma into digitizing her like family like scrapbooks and stuff like that, and I even was able to help my stepmom with scrapbooking or digitizing like a whole bunch of scrapbooks and stuff, and that was really nice. But that wasn't quite the place for me either, mainly because it just was very open-ended on what you could do, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm sitting at a computer and I've already looked at like my grandpa and my great grandpa like 500 times now. I kind of need something else. And so my current service site is the fine arts department, and that one's actually pretty great. It's got a lot more routine structure to it that I like. And what I've done the most of is I've fit and framed paintings that go to temples and meeting houses across the world, pretty much.
Well, that's really neat.
Yeah,
you just see all those cool paintings. That's awesome.
Yeah, there's some cool places. Like right now, we did a lot for the Zimbabwe temple.
Oh,
in Africa.
Oh man,
there was the Knoxville, Tennessee temple that we did a bunch of as well. And I think my favorite, at least in the sense of place, I can't remember where in Japan, but there was a temple in Japan. It was like Osaka and Okinawa. I can't remember.
Right.
But that one was nice. And a whole bunch of, meeting houses. I've done a bunch of pictures of Jesus. So that's pretty great.
I'm sure that's interesting. You come in, they're like, yeah, we need you to frame 200 pictures of Jesus. And you're like, okay.
Well, pretty much, yeah.
Cool.
It's like, here's the cart with the frames. Go find the paintings. Do that. I'm like, cool.
There you go. That's awesome.
So, what brought you to Sons of Helaman? When do you first, like, when did you realize that there was an issue, like there was some addiction that you were facing here?
I knew that mainly because, growing up, you're told that pornography is, not a good thing. And so I always had that going on in the background, but I was too scared to talk about it, open up for a very long time, mainly because I was really afraid of what the consequences would be. And that's a very, very good tactic that the adversary uses, is using that fear to not do it. But there was one moment where I think I was in an interview with one of the few bishops I had, and he asked me a question on certain things, and I, in that moment, opened up, which was really, really hard to do because I was a bag of nerves back then, just very scared, very nervous, and unsure of what to happen. But I guess I knew that I needed to open up to that bishop at that time. And luckily we were able to talk with, I guess it would have been like, how old was I been? At least 16, I imagine.
Okay.
Because this was going on beforehand for
Like, how
a while.
early were you exposed?
Now, I was exposed, I think, really young.
Yeah.
Like,
that makes sense.
And by really young, I was probably before the age of like 6, but that wasn't a problem.
Right.
Like, my opinion is that, or how I feel about it is, I was exposed and I was now revealed to this world of like, what is this sort of stuff? What are these things? What are these emotions or whatever? But I can't say it necessarily was a problem, because,
Right.
and I think the biggest reason, but around 11, 12 is when, a lot of people get into it. And that was around that time as well. Yeah. And what ended up happening around that time is my parents separated, and my mom was like my best friend. And now the only person that really felt like that put any effort to try to understand my diagnosis, because around the age of 11 was when I was diagnosed with autism and ADHD. And so the only person that really tried to, learn stuff about me ended up, separating from my dad. And I lived with my dad at that time. And my dad, you know how like the stereotype of dads is they just don't quite get it. Yeah, it felt very much like a brick wall. So my only emotional support was not at the house. And I didn't know what to do. And all I knew is that, well, I don't want to get in trouble. So if I talk about stuff or say things, I'm going to get in trouble for it. And I wanted to avoid that embarrassment and that feeling of shame. But
yeah, that can really be hard with that, that outlook. The moms definitely tend to be the more emotional bonding kinds. It's cool that you had that connection with her.
Would you say that with the isolation that came from that, would you say that pushed you further, I guess, further into the addiction? It facilitated the addictive behavior?
I'm already a person that likes to do a lot of things by myself. I like doing my own things unless I
Okay.
can share the things I like with other people. So if I don't have anything to share with, I'm going to do it by myself because that's what I want to do. And so, yeah, I very much felt like, at least looking back, that even if we exclude pornography from the inclusion, I was the pornography from the equation. Excuse me. I know that I was already isolating myself because I was just doing my own thing, and I also, with autism and stuff, there's a sort of the world is a confusing place when you're young, and you, at least for me, I tried to,
I think the world
people
is very
can misunderstand you, and to prevent misunderstanding, being alone is a better option.
I see. I see what you're saying.
Wow. Yeah.
That's tough to go through.
I vibe with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you? I guess at what point? Because you mentioned at 11 or 12, it became more of a problem. Your parents were separated. At what point did you realize that maybe you couldn't do this alone?
I never thought about it like that. I mostly thought about it in the sense that I knew what I was doing was like wrong in the sense that of what I've been taught. And so I was wanting to make sure I was following the rules, which recently I've talked with a different therapist, and she pointed out that I got a lot of tendencies of OCD, and when I look at OCD, it feels like a movie where at the end a shadowy figure comes out and says, "I've been there the entire time." I'm like, "No, you haven't." And I look back at my memories. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, he's been there the entire time." How the?
Oh man,
this makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense why I would
sucker.
want to follow rules and make sure that things are right and stuff like that, which has led to a very strong internal struggle about that as well.
I'm hearing something interesting. Like it almost seems like the fear of going against your values, or the fear of going against the rules further, like, just made things worse, would you say?
Yes, it definitely made things worse, and that's something I'm realizing right now.
Yeah.
Because all of that was it was fear based, but my constant fear and negative emotion was just feeding a vicious cycle where I'd say I'm trying, but I'd really struggle to try. And then it felt like, am I really trying?
Right.
Am I actually trying? And now I can say, yes, I'm trying. And it's not necessarily because of pornography. I'm trying because I have to put in more effort just generally, because life is just harder for people on the autism spectrum.
Right. Yeah. No, I definitely. Yeah, that's really what it was like for me. Like, just I found out later, especially after the program. I think during the mission, I realized that if I was going to be tempted and if I was going to slip up, it wasn't necessarily because I was thinking sexual thoughts. It was because I was afraid I was thinking sexual thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And then that fear would lead into actually doing what I was afraid of. And that was really hard. That was a big game changer, because then I realized my fight isn't against pornography and lustful desires anymore. It's against fear. And I had to really rework what my manpower was, and what the focus of my fight was. It had to be more calming myself down. So that's really interesting.
In some ways, it reminds me of a pretty common struggle I think people who are in this addiction have, and that's that there's that scripture in the Book of Mormon that says, we are saved after all we can do. And I remember as a teenager constantly questioning myself and doubting, because, yes, Christ will save me, and that's great after all I can do, but who's going to help me do all I can do? Right? I was afraid I wasn't doing my best, as Brenner was saying. Like, how do you know when you're doing your best, or when you're putting real effort in? And it's a hard doubt to kick out.
Yeah, you question your own efforts. Oh man. So, how did you learn about Sons of Helaman? And I think I might know the answer to this.
Yes, you definitely do, Eli. I only learned about Sons of Helaman because I know I opened up to you and our friend group, Eli, about the struggles I have, and at some point you mentioned Sons of Helaman as a thing, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna go look into this and stuff, and we actually went to one group session. You brought me along just to kind of see how it went, and I was like, okay, I'll try, and I ended up going with a different group, just because it looked like there wasn't a time where it'd work best for me, at least at the Farmington location. And so I was like, oh, there's a place in Bountiful. And that's how when I met Chris, who became a really good support to me. And is a really great guy.
Okay. It wasn't Chris who you were talking about before, was it, Garett? Were we just talking about him? Or was it?
No. It was Dallin.
Okay. Dallin. Gotcha. Man, couldn't go with Maurice. I don't know.
I got nothing against Maurice.
to each his own. That's the great thing about Sons of Helaman, is every clinician kind of acts autonomously, and everyone has kind of a different style, and so and different time. So there you go. You can just find what works for you.
Brenner, I'm curious. You mentioned that you have a stepmom, and clearly there's some history there. I'm curious, when you did eventually end up with a stepmom, did that help, or at least help with some of the connection, or was it still pretty hard for you?
Well, here's the funny thing. I technically have two stepmoms.
Okay.
Because this is the easy way to say it. When my parents split up, both of them married women.
Oh, okay.
So that's the simple way of putting it. But
I was wondering if you're gonna say the thing. I wasn't gonna prompt it.
There was a testimony meeting where I said a really funny joke where it's like, explaining my situation with my family life, and it's like, I got 3 moms and 1 dad. I'm not FLDS, and and it's like weird. This is my situation. I kind of feel like I missed out on dads, though.
Yeah.
I just need more father figures, I guess. And that might be an actual thing and not less of a joke now I think about it, but you know. It's like I had 3 older sisters and I got 3 moms. Listen, can I just get somebody with a Y chromosome, please?
There you go. Oh man, that's rough.
So, I mean, clearly your family evolved from what it was originally, but did that help provide some connection for you?
Yes and no. Early on, it was rough because with my stepmom, she did not. I was something else entirely. You know, with her 2 children, it was much different in how they interacted. And then I came along, and I was probably a very big struggle for her in the beginning, with various things. I remember having a meltdown not too many weeks after, and a meltdown's a very specific thing. When it comes to autism, it's just all your senses are overloaded, and you know it's like something like it could be anger, it could be fear, it could be anxiety. Usually it's a negative emotion that just you can't stop and it just overflows. And that also happens. There's also some extreme emotion when it comes to or a problem with emotional regulation when it comes to ADHD as well. But you know, I just feel a lot when it comes to certain things. But I can say now, like if I were to tell you from then to now, relationships like pretty good. We still struggle at times, but there's a lot of rapport. I'm going to say something that she doesn't want me to say, but I'm going to say it. Recently, she looked at the clock. You know, she was doing something on the microwave, and she put in 60 seconds. She was like, "Oh, dang! I wasn't supposed to put in 60 seconds. I was supposed to put in a minute." You know, and then she looked at me. I was looking at her like, "Really?" And she's like, "No, dang it." We laughed at that. She's like, "Don't tell anybody." And I'm like, "Well, sorry, Jody. It's going to be here on the internet now."
Nice.
Yeah.
Look at this, Mom. Oh, awesome.
So then
I did want to ask, how do you think these different situations, like these different mental diagnoses, have affected your battle with pornography and masturbation? Like, do you think it's different from other warriors, or is it mostly the same fight?
I would say it is a different game, but depending on the son of God that is fighting the battles and that has autism, like autism is a spectrum disorder, and I think we 3 know that, but but that means that what I might have, Eli might not struggle with, or what with like another friend of mine struggles with, I don't at all. Like I don't know how, and I think it's because God has let me feel the love He has for His children, and so that I can be way more empathetic than maybe some other people on the autism spectrum can, in the sense of like, I don't understand what they're going through, so I don't feel anything. It's like, oh, I understand what they're going through, and I really feel it, and so
yeah,
I'm really empathetic there.
I get that.
Yeah. It does affect battles a lot, because one specific thing is very, very concrete thinking. And that's something I realize I've been struggling with a lot. I've also listened to a video just talking a lot about autism as like a crash course. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Concrete thinking has been a very, very big problem for me, at least, because I'm so black and white on things that the fact that I'm struggling and I feel like I haven't been making progress, or in the past, it really, really affects me, because I'm just thinking, I say I'm trying, but I'm not getting results. You know?
So, Brenner,
Yeah.
for me and also for our audience, could you give us a quick summary of what concrete thinking is, according to your understanding?
Concrete thinking, to my understanding, is like if somebody says the sky is green, you know,
Right.
and that's the first thing I hear, I'm just going to be like, well, the sky is green, and I'm going to take it like that. And that's a bit of black and white thinking as well. There's that as well. But something comes along and says, "Oh, actually, the sky is blue," and I'm like, "Well, that's not true. He said it's green." And if he shows evidence that there's, it's more blue, and I realize it's more blue, it can cause some very internalized struggles. It's very.
So you believe the first source of input more than you believe anything else that would say otherwise.
Yeah.
Kind of.
At least for me, maybe that's not exactly concrete thinking, but that's at least the sort of like, I'm inherently like, well, they haven't caused any problems to me. Why would they lie? And it's like, that sort of naivete that some autistic people can have. I can have that as well. Maybe it's a little bit different now that I'm older and I understand people a bit more. You get some experiences where you're like, oh, I was wrong about that the entire time. There's that sort of context that people can't get. But with concrete thinking, it's just very rigid thinking. It's just very specific thinking patterns. So it's very much like, I don't know. It's if the concrete tunnel is going one way, it goes one way. It doesn't go any other way. It's very hard to understand things if there is not sort of branching paths. If that's why it's concrete thinking. It's set in stone. It's one specific thing.
And how do you feel?
Wow, that.
Go ahead, Eli.
Oh man, sorry. I just realized how much that has affected my battles.
Yeah.
Because, oh my gosh, you're right. I really think, when I was younger, that was really tough for me. And for some reason, I just trusted people that not only were they telling the truth, but that their truth was always right. And that's not always the case. Like, people have misunderstandings. And then that evolved into okay, well, people are either telling the truth or they're lying. And then if I find out that one truth someone told me a while ago is no longer true, then, well, they're a liar and I don't trust them anymore. And now that's just had to keep, I feel like my concrete has been hacked away and it's chipping until it's a more fluid thing. I think when I finally joined Sons of Helaman is when I finally shattered the concrete, and I was like, okay, my entire perception of reality has been wrong thus far, and I need to be remade into something else. And I'll always say Sons of Helaman was kind of, it wasn't just the start of my path of recovery. It was the start of becoming a completely new person, because I was sick of how I was, of how I thought of the world. So that's crazy.
So then, Brenner, how would you say concrete thinking affected your battles?
It's very simple. It's similar to what Eli said, in the sense of there's right and there's wrong, and there's no in between. There's no gray area. There isn't a second path. It's either it's a sheer cliff or you're on something, and that's not true. And because of the fact, and this can be, and this is just a sad reality of for me, at least for a very long time, with a certain bishop. Not that he was a bad bishop; it was just this certain bishop, where it felt like I was, every time I'd go and talk to him, and we discuss what's going on and whether or not I'm doing okay or not doing okay, how many battles I was winning or losing, and I just it just felt like every time I was going to talk to him, I'm just like, I'm still struggling, I'm still struggling, I'm still struggling, and that started to place an identity, a specific thing in my head that that only recently am I just going through the whole process of like deconstructing, I guess. So
yeah, so it kind of you were either, so in your mind you were either struggling with this or you weren't struggling. It wasn't like I did better this week or I did worse this week.
Yeah, because the end goal was I wouldn't be struggling with this stuff at all. That was the point. It's the end goal was the thing that mattered most.
Right.
And because there wasn't any other way of thinking about that, it led to probably this lasting a lot longer than I wanted to.
Yeah. And another thing I've been trying to understand about autism is, this feeling of it's either all or nothing, is generally pretty relatable to people without autism as well. But as one with autism, I can attest that even if it is like, relatable to other people who are going through this addiction, it is, we just experience that same experience like times 10. Like, and it's just really hard. And so I used to think I was like inhuman, like I couldn't relate to anyone, like the experience I'm having is not, like, other people don't get it. And so I thought like I don't feel human. But as I like talk through it and like talk through the steps of what's going on in my head, I realize I am human. I'm just human times 10. And so it takes 10 times more effort as the average human to like come back from that. Like I didn't get why people could just come back or shift their mindset. Like, how do you do that? It was mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is about you, Elder Hanseen.
No, it makes a lot of sense because recently, I with this video I watched, the therapist described people with autism as playing on New Game Plus. So like you play the game normally, and it's like, oh, okay, new game, everything goes well, and you fight your first boss, and he has like 100 HP, and by the end of the game, you fight a boss with 1,000 HP. Okay, and he described it like people with autism are playing on New Game Plus, which means the first boss actually has 10,000 HP now instead of 100, because it's just that more difficult.
Oh man, I jive with that. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
It sounds like that would be fairly discouraging. Is discouragement something that you've had to spend a lot of time working through?
Yeah, there was a lot of discouragement because, at least for me, it was like I was trying to do my best, both in like a job and even right now as a missionary, and then trying to also like present myself as, you know, a functioning member of society, yet I'm falling apart at the seams. And then at home, it's like I'm trying to make sure that like my parents feel as if I'm doing something. And so I got to portray myself as being the best I can. And deep down, even though in reality, I am being held together with duct tape and spit.
Oh man.
Huh.
And shame plays such a massive part in the autistic experience, because from an autistic person's point of view, like I can say this from my point of view, is I look at everybody else and it seems as if they can just do everything like it's it's nothing. And here I am just struggling to get out of bed in the morning. It's like, and that's a thing a lot of people with depression probably feel as well. It's just like, how is everybody else seemingly is okay, and yet here I am just like, I can't just do it. Like, I'm pretty certain I have depression. Like, that's just a fact. There, you're very much more likely to have depression being on the being on the autism spectrum. You can't see it right now, but Eli is pointing at himself at the moment.
Yeah. Yep. I feel it. I feel it all.
Yeah, depression, anxiety, like autistic people will will just experience anxiety greater, especially in like social situations. That does a lot for anxiety. Just a lot there.
Crap, yeah.
There's there. I remember the guy giving a percentage on how many autistic people are traumatized, and it's like 70 to 80%. Because when you're growing up and you just don't process and understand information the same way, when you don't communicate in the same way, and your parent, your dad's just like telling you to look at me, and he holds your head in your hands, and you look at him for a second, but because you also have ADHD, you immediately start looking off to the sides and whatever. And he's frustrated at you not doing these specific things that you're supposed to, but you're just like, I'm just existing. I'm just here right now. I don't get why this is such a problem. And you start to feel bad about yourself, and you start thinking, man, why am I not able to accomplish these things that these people around me want to do? Why am I not doing what they want? I feel awful for not being the good son or daughter that I'm supposed to be. And unintentionally, your parents traumatize you very easily as a kid.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So,
and that's why I relate to people with trauma.
Given that's the case, somebody might look at your life or someone's life, with someone with autism's life from the outside and say, wow, that just, is there hope? Which obviously I know there is, but how is hope and grace, like God's grace, how has that helped you? How did that strengthen you?
Yeah. I was just going to ask, have you seen any light at the end of the tunnel, maybe even a direction that you're hoping to go?
Maybe what I have experienced recently is good for this podcast, because recently I have just gone through such a this week, actually, such an emotional pit. Before I continue, I want to give another statistic that I remember hearing from the man, this therapist in the video. He said that 25% of all autistic people, at least what he's experienced or these studies have shown, are suicidal. 10% attempt suicide and 2% are successful. But what that means is 1 out of 4 autistic people are suicidal. Now that number decreases, but if that's still, it's just like, out of all that struggle, suicidality, there's just that. And it makes sense. You're trying everything you can, yet nothing seems to work. Nothing seems to fit in place. The people around you don't seem to understand you. I mean, at least I've had that experience where it's just like I'm trying and nothing is working. Why in the world would I keep going if what I am doing is not working? And they say, "Oh, just try again." I have over and over and over and over and over again, and at some point, you're just like, "What's the point of doing something that isn't working?" And that's where those thoughts come in. And I was really down there this week, and the only thing that I can say is, with the prayers I was giving, with the amount of despair I was going through, I was still praying. I was still expressing all of this to God. I don't know. That's kind of this hard part where it's like, it's there, and I know it's there because I'm not in the same state I am on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday. But here on Friday, it's like the one thing and this is something I was thinking about today. I mean, actually, I don't even necessarily know. That's just the really hard part. So I'll have to go on to something I heard, which is, there is hope. It's not hopeless. There are people out there that can help. And even if the people that you get help from in that moment are helping, it feels hopeless again, there's still hope.
Yeah.
And it's very hard when you have that concrete thinking, because it just feels as if it's building on a foundation of pain. But that's not true.
So you're still in this phase of searching for that hope then.
Yeah. It's I have felt so beaten down and broken that I really don't have anything else. And I've had that thought where it's like, I don't have anything else at the moment, but I'll express my self-loathing that I have for myself. I'll express my great amount of anger I have at so many things, and my deep sadness that I feel as if I'm just not achieving what I want to, or at least what I feel as if I'm supposed to.
Yeah.
But right now in this moment, I'm content, and I'll give one specific thought that I had that I thought about today. Especially since I also think of my continuous struggle as this form of debt. We're all indebted to our Father in heaven. We cannot repay back that debt. And the thing is, though, what is the debt that we're can't pay back? That's us. We are our lives, who we are, and what we're doing. Just us. We are the debt. Now, if like a debt collector comes and sees that you can't pay back what you have, what is the debt collector going to do? He's going to take what you owe in some form of asset or the money you have. But there's nothing on earth that we can give our Heavenly Father besides ourselves. He's going to take us back in one way or the other. No matter how much debt we feel as if we have, no matter how much we feel as if we can't pay it back, especially because it feels as if I need to just do something to rectify it. There's nothing I can do to pay it back, but he's going to take me back anyway. And that's the special thing.
Yeah. Wow. That's a great hope. I have a thought I've been thinking of. I think a lot of times, one of the things that goes autism, or at least just something I've noticed about myself and some other people is, and it might be a form of concrete thinking, but once we're on one track and it's like an emotional line of thinking, it's really hard to get off that track. And so when we're in despair, we just keep the conversation on despair. And it's really hard to like look for gratitude or look for joyful things. And that's something I've really been working on myself. It's actually my entire battle plan for how I fight my battles now revolves around gratitude. If you look at the science behind it, gratitude is, I think, the only emotion. We'll need to fact check this afterwards, but I think gratitude is the only emotion you can feel that completely blots out any other emotion. And so, but and then we have autism, and like, how does that factor in? So I find that not only do I have to be grateful, I have to be autistically grateful for things. I have to be grateful times 10. If I'm gonna work through my battles. And nowadays that's really easy for me because, once again, it's really easy to get in one line of thinking. And now that I'm in that one line of gratitude, I just feel that 24/7. And it's super awesome. And I still have these bumps of, feeling really anxious, having panic attacks still. I still have panic attacks. And I still get tempted. I still have these crazy satanic thoughts. I still think women are hot,
Score.
when they walk past.
You think women are hot? I don't.
Oh yeah.
I'm joking.
There's some really hot women around, if you haven't noticed. But my main line of thinking is just gratitude. I'm grateful for my life. I'm grateful for all the opportunities that God has put into my path. And I know that if I go to bed feeling gratitude, that I won't have a battle that night. And it's kind of crazy. So there's my thought for you.
As I've been listening to you both talk about, some of the difficulties of feeling that hope, it reminds me of the poem about the footprints in the sand. It's a pretty common poem. People have heard it, but the idea is basically that, you're in a dreamlike state and you're looking along the sand where you and the Savior walked previously. And you see that at some points there were two sets of footprints, and at some points there was only one. And the narrator in the poem says, what happened? You promised you would always be with me, right? He looked back on his life on the hardest points and said, where were you? To which the Savior replied, I was carrying you. Those are my footprints. And I feel like that's kind of similar to what Brenner was saying, that, he doesn't really know where that hope is coming from. He just knows that if he continues to pray and continues to do these things, that he makes it through. And he's better off today than he was, on Tuesday. Well, I would be so bold as to say, perhaps you might look back and say, he was carrying me.
I do look back on the week, and I maybe it's just because I just needed to get all of those negative emotions that I've suppressed and maybe not thought wanted to think about. And so that this week has just been, all right, we're gonna trauma dump to ourselves, all right, and to the Lord. And so maybe that was what was just necessary. And I'm looking back on it, and it just feels as if actually, this reminds me of a parable I made up once. I'll try to abbreviate it.
Brenner's also a creative genius. He's written poems and songs and has an epic death scream. Just putting that out there.
Good to know.
I'll save everybody's eardrums right now from the death scream. Death metal scream.
Appreciate it.
Because I'm like, yeah.
Another time.
To the listeners, eventually when a song gets released, you can hear it. But the parable is what I would describe as, what did I call it? The statue and the artisan, the master artisan. So there was a man that owned a museum who his favorite piece of art he had right at the beginning of the museum. He had it right there, and he loved it so much, and he wanted everybody to see it when they come in. But many years later, one day he realized how bad the situation was, where only 3 people walked in: a man looking for directions, the mailman giving him a package, and the landlord telling him rent was going to be due. And so he was extremely desperate. He didn't know what to do. Nobody wanted to come in for some reason. And he was going to just feel as if the world was collapsing in, but he remembered that there was this master artisan who had this miraculous ability to be able to create pieces of work, and no matter what it was, it would get worldwide recognition pretty much immediately. They were classics upon arrival. And so he decided to take a chance and call the master artisan. And when he picked up, he explained the situation. And he says, I will be there within the week, probably tomorrow. And so he's like, really? Yep, I will. So he arrives the next day. And the museum owner is extremely happy that he's there. And he says, thank you so much that you're here. Hopefully you'll be able to do something, create something, and the museum will come back. And he says, yes. And even before I got here and you explained the story, I already knew what I was going to do. Oh, what is it? You see that statue you have right there? Yeah. Well, I'm going to make it into something new. And that terrified the museum owner. But at the same time, it was like, okay, my favorite statue is going to look different. I don't know what that's going to look like, but all right, let's go with it. And so he agrees that the main project will be the museum owner's favorite statue. And for 3 days, the master artisan looks at the statue, looks at it from all angles. And then the next day goes and takes a whole bunch of notes. And on the 3rd day, he sits down for an hour just staring at the statue right in front of him. And after that hour is over, he stands up and goes outside and starts bringing in tools, a whole assortment of tools, every kind of tool that you can think of that would chisel stone, make a dent, make a mark, whatever it is. And on one end, it started with these tiny little hammers with the tiny little nails and the little scalpels and whatever, but it progressively got bigger and bigger and bigger to sledgehammers and big metal rods and a jackhammer even. And looking at all of that, the museum owner is just like terrified at the possibility that a sledgehammer could be used to on his favorite statue. It's his favorite statue. It's the reason why he has the museum in the first place, so he could show it off. And he goes up to the master artist and said, do we really have to use everything here? And the master artisan replies, no, we don't have to use everything. I might not even use everything, but I know this much. Every person that has asked me to not have all of the tools I have at disposal, even though the piece of work I create is still a classic, that individual just doesn't feel like it's what they wanted. If I can't use everything, you're going to end up feeling disappointed. And the museum owner looks at the statue and he just thinks about how if he doesn't do this, nobody's going to see the statue at all. It's either the master artisan does something, or this statue is going to end up in like some warehouse that's going to be forgotten or something like that. So even though the museum owner is extremely scared and he has no idea what's going to happen, he agrees. And so the master artisan starts his work. And that's where it ends. I don't know what happens right now because that story is me. And that's how I feel. That's how I felt at the beginning of my mission. And I realized this week sledgehammers were flung. And that was a lot for me. I really had some sledgehammers and jackhammers and big metal spikes come crashing down on the statue. But you know, what else is the master artisan going to do? I don't know, but it's being worked on.
Wow. That's kind of incredible. That's I'm glad you decided to add that in.
Yeah, thanks for sharing
here at the end. I have a question.
Go for it.
All right.
Okay. I wanted to ask, are there any like specific lessons you've learned so far from your experience that might have some good insights or might give some hope to people who are struggling in a similar situation? Maybe even as specific as, you know, either people struggling through an addiction or maybe even like people with autism going through a service mission. Like, are there any like specific little details that you've found has helped you?
Yes. And this will go to anybody that is in the pits of despair because of whatever reason, depression, because they've struggled so much with addiction, because of whatever has brought them to the lowest thing. The first thing I need to make sure you need to know is shame will kill you. That is the first thing. Shame will kill you. And the adversary, Satan, he wants you to stay in shame, to make you feel the lowest of lows, the absolute nothing at all, just nothing at all, a void of a human being that doesn't deserve a single thing in the world. And he wants you to make you think that you don't get why the Savior would have done what he's done for you, and make you feel as if it doesn't apply to you. That's the first thing, is that the adversary is going to use shame to kill you. And so when you can, because shame is almost like pride, because instead of you thinking you're better than everybody else, you think everybody else is better than you. It's pride antagonizing you.
So how do you get out of that?
It's hard and it takes some time. Just as far as what I've done is I've just kept going even when I thought I can't or I shouldn't or it doesn't make any sense to. And that's something specifically for me. I don't know what it is, but I just know you got to keep praying, you got to keep moving forward.
Sounds
That
like
is
faith.
most definitely something. Yeah, it is faith.
Wow. Yeah. No, I totally relate to that. That was what kept me going, was like feeling like I was in an impossible circumstance. And I kept going anyway. And it's like, I feel like I should be dead now, but I'm not.
Oh, yeah, I've been there too.
Yeah.
Like, how am I not dead?
Yeah.
There's a ditch somewhere that's supposed to have like my imprint. I don't know. I'm not there yet. I don't know why.
Yeah. Like, I thought my body kept telling me I was going to die, and I'm not dead. And I just pretended like I could do it. And then I actually did it. And now I can keep going, I guess. Should I keep going? Yeah.
You're breathing, right?
So,
are you the real Eli?
Yeah.
All right.
What does that mean?
No, I don't know. You decide. Here's an existential crisis for you right at the end of this podcast.
That's right. So, Brenner, if you were to summarize, why would you say you're still fighting?
Yes.
I have nothing better to do with my life. Honestly, there's nothing else I can think of that would be a good alternative than what I'm currently doing as a missionary. Like, I have no idea what else there is. You're telling me that other people can find meaning and happiness in nothing or a different religion, or something else? Nah, I just, and that's ironically that's concrete thinking, but it's like,
hey, use it for a good thing.
Yeah, I got nothing better. This is the only thing I can think of that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, you could just be a basement dweller and a porn addict.
That too. I don't want to. That's the thing. Listen, I just want to be one of those things, and that's a basement dweller, all right?
Rip.
I want to get that off my resume. I want to get porn addict off my resume. It's not good.
Yeah, that's not a great point to put. Oh, man. Well, this has been wonderful. I'm so glad we got you on the pod.
And thank you for your faith. I mean, I don't know what you're going through, you know. I don't get that the benefit that Eli has there where he can relate on some point, but from my perspective, you have a lot of faith. And that's amazing.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. I haven't heard many people say that to me, so it means something.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't think you could have said it better. You got it, man. You got the faith. Oh, man.
This podcast has cured my depression.
You're welcome.
That's a reference to Urban Rescue Ranch. So if you ever heard it, it's a good channel to watch if you want some like good Gen Z humor and like some guy helping out rehabilitating animals. So if you want some feel good stuff,
sponsored. Yeah,
not sponsored.
No, you should. Yeah. Well, dude, you totally got to send me the link to the autism videos you've been watching, because that sounds I've never taken the time to look at that, and I probably should.
It was a
And-
live stream that went on for 3 hours. So if you want to, like, if you have a project you're working on, yeah, go watch that. He's a real good guy, in my opinion.
Gotcha.
I mean, it's just for those that are curious, I'm just going to tell you the YouTube channel name. It's Healthy Gamer GG.
Okay.
Oh, Healthy Gamer.
Yeah. I know that guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he did a live stream just talking about autism and having a kind of, it's a crash course, and I feel like he did everything he could to explain it. It's like, yeah, he did a good job. Like the analogy of not to take up more time, but just to make this one quick point, the analogy of, like, you know how, like, you eat eggs and then all of a sudden you feel that crunch of the shell and you're like, ew, gross. That's kind of a good representation of autism with, like, a bunch of things where it's just like, it could be like, I don't like this, it makes me feel bad, or this thing over there, but it's like things that your family or, like, society kind of needs you to do, and so it's just like, oh, this is a real struggle, and it's just from that yeah. If you want to go, and I recommend watching it if you have autism. If you don't like swear words, I only swears like every 40 minutes or something. I don't know, but it's good in my opinion.
That's good,
man. Yeah, no, that would be a good thing to put in the show notes, I think. Yeah.
Well then.
Well,
I guess this has been our Eternal Warrior podcast.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, thank you guys for listening in, and those on YouTube for watching.
If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or stories that you'd like shared on the podcast, you can reach us at podcast@lifechangingservices.org.
Life-Changing Services. Yeah. There you go. It's the .org that always gets me. Yeah. Well, till we meet again, promise to be of service to you, will allow you to be of service to me until both you and I successfully defeat this demon that assails us. Whew. You got this.
If you're listening to this podcast, you have probably found that you are in need of, you are strongly desiring, a level of self-mastery that you have not been able to achieve on your own. Or you are a loved one or a parent who knows someone who would like to achieve that level of self-mastery. It's not fun to be in that situation. Been there, done that. I've become a specialist in this area by spending 30 years initially searching for and harvesting eternal principles found in the world of psychology, science, and the words of the prophets, many of them found in the Book of Mormon, for my own sake first, and then I found that they're of great value to others. Instead of just hoarding these concepts, we put them into a book form that is easy for you to access. Like Dragons Did They Fight? You'll understand the reason why it's called that when you start reading it. But go to likedragonsfree.com, get your own free copy of it, download it, and then when you're ready to talk over your circumstances and make a battle plan, call 877-HERO-877. In other words, 877-4376. Talk to our headquarters people, and if necessary, they'll arrange for you to have a consultation with me. I am sad that you're going through this, but I've watched thousands and thousands of young warriors gain the confidence and strength they need to be able to have the lives they want now and the futures they desire to have. We will see you soon.